Hi everyone. Welcome to our Girl Talk space, all things purpose, all things self worth. My name is Amanda Ann, and I'm an author, a self published author. I've published two books called Note to Self as well as Redefining Her. So, Note to Self is a practical tool that anybody who has their hands on this book can use to find their voice, to build on their self worth, and just have self development in any areas that they may be struggling with. And this book is redefining her. This one is about redefining your story and just knowing that no matter what happened to you or what you've experienced, God is still with you and you can still change your life and be better. I am also a speaker. I have spoken to over 300 students in South Africa and just empowering them in terms of finding their purpose, in terms of building on their self identity as well as their self-worth, and just empowering them as they are our young leaders, upcoming leaders rather. And I'm also a passionate advocate for healing, purpose and identity. I'm very passionate about writing and speaking, especially when it comes to purpose, identity and self-worth. Okay, so on today's talk I will be speaking about purposeful living and the fact that your story matters. I've titled today's talk in terms of your story matters because I think that, and believe rather, that we all have a story to tell. Everybody has a story to tell, right? And all our stories matter. And our stories affect our walk of purpose. Our stories affect the way that we show up, and how we show up dives deep into our purpose as well as our stories. How we show up daily is connected to the way that you've been called, in the way that God has destined you for the things that you will do in the future. So our stories really matter. So I just want to share a bit of about myself in terms of my story and how I actually even ended up writing, because it's a foundation of this talk for today. I was raised by two teenage parents. My mom was 16 and my dad was 17 when they had me. And I didn't feel the difference that they were teenage parents, honestly. I really didn't. I really did feel the love. My mom loved me, like we were very close. She's seen me grow and up until today. And my dad, I was very close to my father. And you know what they say about girls being daddy's girls. I was one of them. Let me tell you, you could not say anything negative about my father in my presence because I would have you for dinner and supper and breakfast. That's how close I was with my dad. I defended him. I might remember when I visited my paternal home, my dad would probably give me 10 rands or 20 bucks to be able to spend it on lunch at school. And when I come home, my maternal home, I would be so excited to tell everybody that my dad gave me 20 rands. I would be so happy. I would tell them my dad gave me money this big. Like I exaggerated everything that he did. I praised everything that he did. That's how close we were. He never missed my birthday. He taught me the tradition of buying cake, a birthday cake, and not miss that and celebrate life. He taught me that, and it really mattered to me. So then, fast forward, my dad passes away in 2005. I was about 9, 10 ish, about 10, 10. And then he passes away. All I can say is that that was unexpected for me because I was very young and I was a daddy's girl. So for me to find out that he had passed, it really broke me. It really broke me and it changed the trajectory of my life forever, to be honest. it affected me. And I think for me, that's when my story begins, because then I never dealt with grief because I didn't know how to, and I didn't have anybody to walk through that journey with. I didn't have anybody to teach me that now that your father is gone, this is your new reality, that this is how we're going to walk it. This is how we're going to show up now. It just felt like he was snatched away from me, and I needed to deal with that new reality by myself. And I really struggled with that. I had depression. Let me tell you, I had depression, and excuse me, I didn't even know that I had depression. But I was sad a lot. I was sad. I grew up sad. Someone, when I was in varsity, was looking at my past pictures, and they said, "You never smiled in your pictures, Amanda. Why?" And I told them it's because I had nothing to smile about. And for me, that moment kind of defined my story for me as well, because it then meant that, you know what, I'm not okay. I thought I was hiding that I was not okay, but someone else notices it, and I just had to acknowledge that this was my reality, this was my story. What happened affected me, and I needed to deal with it, right? So I then started journaling and writing in my healing journey, and just acknowledging the fact that I wasn't okay, and I needed to work through the things that affected me, and the things that were still hurting me. And I worked on that, and that's how I got into like the writing journey, being an author and all of that. But then the most important part for me was understanding that my story matters, which brings me to this topic for today, which is your story matters and purposeful living. Your story matters, and only you can define that. It doesn't matter if I tell you that your story matters, if I tell you that you matter. It's very important to acknowledge your story, that this is the reality. I think sometimes we spend a lot of time battling with accepting our stories, accepting that this is the reality. But when it comes to purposeful living, it's all about how you respond to the things that happen to you. It's how you respond to the things that are not in your control. It's how you show up on a daily basis. Purpose goes beyond your job. It goes beyond your qualifications. It goes beyond your externals. It's about how you show up. That's why I started by saying your story matters, and you need to acknowledge your reality, that this is what has happened to me, or this is what is happening to me. How am I responding to it is really an internal thing. It's a personal thing. How are you choosing to respond to it? I said to someone the other day that you can either cry and complain forever, or you can either get up and do something about your reality, and do something about the things that you're experiencing. And for me, that's what purposeful living is about. And we can't live like there's no tomorrow. We can't live like zombies where we are just living and existing. It's just vibes. You need to live a life of purpose, a life that has meaning. You need to live with intention, lead with intention. If you were to die today, would you say that you have lived a life of purpose? Would you really consider the fact that you lived fully and intentionally? Because my thing is, purpose doesn't start when you study for that degree, or you get that job. Purpose is an everyday thing. Purposeful living. We are called to lead with intention on an everyday basis. We need to show up. It doesn't mean showing up being positive all the time, because we can't escape the fact that there are things that will happen, there are things that will shift us, and we can't always show up as our best, but you just need to show up. For me, that's why I define purpose, just showing up. I'm not saying that you need to be positive all the time. You need to know the direction that you are supposed to go. You need to know how to lead this life of purpose and intention. No. Just show up. Just choose to show up. Show up anyway. Show up scared. Show up not knowing what you're going to eat tomorrow. but still show up. People show up. I am so inspired by people that sell on, like, every day when I go to work, I see people selling on the robots, and they show up every day, whether it's raining, whether it's sunny, whether it's windy, whether it's super cold. They show up every day. They are there earlier than even me, you know, because they understand that I'm a breadwinner. I need to go and make money so that I can feed my family. So we need to have that kind of a mother's love in terms of, I'm going to protect my kids, and have that drive that I'm going to show up anyway. As difficult as it is, I am going to show up. And for me, that's what purposeful living is all about. It's showing up anyway. It's showing up even if you don't understand what's happening around you, even if there's a shift that's happening, even if you're being pulled from one direction to another, but it's showing up with intention and saying, I'm gonna try anyway. So what am I saying? Purpose is not a destination. Purpose is an everyday experience. And how you choose to show up, it's up to you. How you respond to your experiences, it's up to you. And I think that we need to learn to lead a life of purpose, and not just exist in this world, in this chaotic world. There's so much that is happening around the world. There's so much that is happening around it. But can we show up? Can we still learn to show up anyway? Can we still learn to show up anyway? As difficult as it is, can you show up? Today, I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to acknowledge your story. I'm giving you a task. I want you to acknowledge your story. I want you to acknowledge your reality. Acknowledge your past. This is what happened to me. And I'm acknowledging it. I'm accepting it. It was wrong. It was painful. I did not deserve to go through it, but it happened. I'm not going to hold on to all those experiences and let them define me. Your pain must not define you. Doors being shut must not define you. I'm not going to be defined by the closed doors. I'm not going to be defined by my experiences. I'm not going to be defined by the rejections. So today, I am choosing to acknowledge that those things happened to me. That was my experience. But my story matters. And I'm going to try to show up and live intentionally. I'm going to show up for myself. And I'm going to try and show up for others as well. I'm going to show up in my job. I'm going to show up as a daughter, as a mother. I'm going to show up as a husband. I'm going to show up anyway. Purposeful living is all about how you choose to show up, how you choose to present yourself in the world. And I hope that you were inspired by this. I hope you were really inspired, and thank you for actually staying up until this long. Please stay alert. There will be other videos coming in. If you have a suggestion in terms of other videos, or other topics that you feel that I should touch on over and above purposeful living, or if you feel that you have any more questions around this, please drop them in the comment section below. And thank you so much for staying. I hope that you were inspired, and I hope that I was able to challenge you in terms of living a purposeful life, because we are all called to be something in this world. No one is called to cry every day. No one is called to just suffer, even though sometimes we feel that God has neglected us, even when experiences are beyond our control. You are still called for something more. You are still called for something big, and it's how you respond to your experiences. I hope that in your chaos, in your mess, you can still live purposefully. You can still lead with intention. You can still change what is happening and change it to be something. I am reminded of something actually before I leave. There's a Japanese art that I like. It's called kintsugi. So kintsugi is a Japanese art whereby they take broken vases. They take a broken vase, and they take the broken pieces, and then they take a gold-like substance, and then they piece them all together to make new beautiful, like a new beautiful art from that. And for me, it's all about, you are broken, but you're still usable. Your situation, you come from a messy place, a messy environment, but it can still be a message of hope for someone else. And today I think that's what purposeful living is all about. It's changing the way that you view your experiences. It's changing the way that you show up and saying, I am not going to show up from sadness anymore. I'm not going to show up from lack of confidence anymore. I'm showing up better. I'm changing the way that I think and the way that I'm responding to certain things, because I can do something about what's happening. I can change the way I was thinking, right? You don't choose where you come from, right? You don't choose the kind of environment that you grow up from, but you can choose the environment that you exist in and your kids come from, right? So that's what purposeful living is about. Sometimes it's saying that I'm not responsible for this, but I'm responsible for that, right? So that's what purposeful living is about. Is choosing to show up better, choosing to show up differently, not from our pain, not from our experiences, not from our environments, or experiences, but it's saying I'm choosing the way that I'm showing up now. I'm choosing to show up differently. I'm choosing to look at this in a different way. And I hope that you are inspired. Thank you so much. Until next time.